It is the 41st millennium. Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel. Hello, here I am. Helps if I remember to turn the camera on, doesn't it? Good evening, my friends. How are you all? Welcome to our weekly Blood Angels Army List show. I've got a little bit of an upgrade here on my end of the tech. I've got the camera on a new tripod, so the camera might look a bit of a different position. So I'm feeling a little bit out of sorts, but hello, welcome. 58 of you beautiful Blood Angels fans here tonight. Hello, I'm not going to say hello to everybody. We'll be here all day. 58, thanks so much for tuning in every Sunday night. You know it, 8 p.m.-ish. We'll look at, we're going to look at 8 army lists tonight. I have no idea, I've just picked 8. Pretty much half of them are from members, half of them are from non-members. I'm still trying to get through the backlog of army lists from the new codex, so it's just non-stop. I'm supposed to do 6 lists a week. I've been doing 8 now for probably like a month. If you do enjoy tonight's stream at any point, please click the like button. It does help the channel out ever so much. Videos that get 100 likes actually get a lot more traction here on YouTube. So, good evening, everybody. Nice to see you all. As always, if you've got any Blood Angels questions, shout them out. If you are a member with a green name, you get a free super chat, so please use that. And yeah, we did see that the Death Guard got their new detachment today. I'm not sure it's as strong as the current Death Guard detachment. So the first of the Christmas detachments have been released, so we'll look forward to seeing what we actually get for Space Marines, I guess, later this month. It is Dark Angels getting a new detachment tomorrow, apparently. So, I mean, that's all we know. Dark Angels are getting their detachment tomorrow. Death Guard got their detachment today. The guy, the disgustingly resilient guy, I think his name is Michael, he was saying that he doesn't think it's that strong a detachment. I'm going to do a video on the new detachments. Any Space Marine one, sure. Oh, disgustingly resilient here. You like the new detachment? You don't like it? I heard secondhand from Colin that you don't like it, or maybe it was someone else he was talking about. Yeah, I'll do a video on any new Space Marine detachment. I'm not qualified to talk about Death Guard, but I can give you the scoop of other detachments. I'm probably not going to talk about Dark Angels either, to be honest. So I'll just do generic Space Marines and if Blood Angels get one. Okay, let's dive into list number 1 for tonight. This is submitted by Marker. I've put his first name and his last name together. Mark Pucker. Evening, Marius. I sent you an email earlier, Marius. Let me know if you got it. Just want to say thank you so much for the content. As I'm a new 40k player, I found this channel very helpful. Would love to get this list reviewed. I saw someone else jump in. Red Covenant says he played 3-2 at the Leicester GT. Thanks, Blood Angels Commander, for all the tips. You helped me refine my Blood Angels playstyle. I ran Outriders, Terminators with Chaplains, Blade Guard, Death Company, and an Impulsor. Sounds like you had a pretty cool balanced list, Red Covenant. I think it's nice to be unique. I think there is sort of like some Blood Angels units that get picked an awful lot, but I think it's nice to be unique. A character regenerating all wounds for 10 points is beastly. I suppose you just don't commit to the character if you don't want to kill him. Yeah. All right. So Flesh Tearers. It's a bit of a. He's called it the Flesh Tearers, but straight away it is not the Flesh Tearers because we've Astaroth and Dante. Okay, so we've got Captain with Rage. We've got the Chaplain. Sorry, we've got Captain with Speed of the Primarch. So we're going to be looking at probably 2 squads of Sanguinary Guard. We got the Assault Intercessor squad, the Impulsor, so they'll be with the Captain. It's cool. We've got Assault Jump Intercessors, a 5, a 10, and a 5. Okay, I'm not entirely... Oh, we'll come back to them, see who's attached to them. We've got 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts. We've got 10 Death Company Marines with jump packs, 5 Death Company Marines with jump packs, a Lancer, and a squad of Sanguinary Guard. So, Astaroth, I think he changed his mind because he said Lamarta's with 10 Death Company. So I think Astaroth with 10 Death Company, the Captain with Rage Fueled, and the Assault Intercessor and the Pulsar, the 10 Jump Pack Captain Intercessors or Fight First. Do you know what? I've seen a few people that are putting Fight First on Assault Intercessors. I don't think I like it. I don't think it's meaningful enough. Like, you're charged by the enemy. Let's just say it's 10 Assault Intercessors. So it's 40 attacks. You hit on 3s. So it's 26 hits. You are only Strength 4. I think this is my big problem with it. You're only Strength 4. So if you go into anything that's higher than Toughness 4, then you only wound on 3s. So your Fight First is only letting you get 8 successful wounds with the Chainsword. I don't think 8 successful wounds on the Chainsword is meaningful. Now, I've seen quite a few people trying to do, like, Assault Intercessors on foot with Fight First, or a Captain plus Assault Intercessors and a Lieutenant with the Fight First. Espana says that they're too fragile. Yeah, well, there's 2 things there, right? Assault Intercessors are very fragile. They're just a Toughness 4 Marine that can be killed very, very easily. And I don't think Chainswords are meaningful enough to dissuade people from charging them, right? For example, if you were charged by a unit of Plague Marines there, so the Plague Marines need to take 8 saves at AP 1. Okay, they save on a 4-up, so you lose 2 Plague Marines. So you've lost 2 Plague Marines, but then the rest of the unit just takes a crap load of damage. I don't think I like Fight First and Assault Intercessors. I think there's better options. We covered them in this week's Tactics video. Blade Guard, Terminators, Sanguinary Guard. Maybe you could do 10 Death Company with Fight First with a Chaplain, but I think if you're going to run 10 Death Company, you probably want to take Astaroth or Lamartes. But I mean, I wouldn't hate 10 Death Company with a Fight First Chaplain. I think it's better than Assault Intercessors because at least you're getting Power Fists and Eviscerators and some good stuff like that, right? Have you seen the potential new stat line for Imperial Knights? Big Knights will be a bit easier to wound for Assault Intercessors after the change. I have not seen any new stat line for Imperial Knights. They're still going to be high enough toughness that you only need 6s, surely. Okay, so Astaroth with 10 Death Company is good. The Captain, Assault Intercessors, the Rage, the Impulsor is good. Dante and Sanguinary Guard is good. The 2 Ballistuses and a Gladiator Lancer is probably pretty good. I haven't run that myself, but I was going to run something similar. So you've got 5 Death Company that are unled, and then you've got 20 Assault Intercessors, 10 of which are led by Fight First. So yeah, I think scoring-wise, you're probably down a couple of units here, right? Like, for scoring units, you really only have, like, your 1 Impulsor and then 2 units of Jump Intercessors. So I think I would probably think about removing this unit of Jump Intercessors and removing this Rage-Fueled Captain. That gives you, like, 250 points. What could we do with 250 points? Well, we could do, like, 2 units of Scouts, and that would get you up to 5 scoring units, which would make me feel a lot better about things. You don't have anything like Infiltrators for your backfield. infiltrators are very, very useful for Blood Angels. I feel like I don't leave home without them. So I think in this case, I'd probably take the 250 points from this from this Fight First Captain. Sorry, it's 270 points. Take the 270 points, put in a unit of infiltrators that's 100 points, spend the 170 on... 170 actually works perfect for like another a 5-man jump intercessors and a unit of outriders, or you could do a couple of units of scouts or something. But I feel like the problems with this list, probably in my opinion, are it doesn't have enough scoring options. So I think you need at least 5 units that are dedicated to scoring. It doesn't have anything that will hold the backfield. And I mean, yes, a Gladiator Lancer or a Ballistus Dreadnought can hold the backfield. But if the opponent deep strikes a bunch of Terminators into your backfield, you're not going to be doing very much. Gladiator Lancer isn't exactly going to be efficient at killing Terminators, and neither is Ballistus Dreadnought. So you're gonna struggle if they deep strike on you with this list. But he is new, so I mean, it's a good. You're not too far away, Mark, from having something good. I guess keep up to date with all my tactics videos and you'll probably learn a little bit more. But the 5 Death Company without a leader are I think they're very difficult to play as well right now, because obviously they've got to stay within 12 inches of the other Death Company at all times, or they've got no OC. I think that's quite tricky in reality, because in reality sometimes you want to kill a unit on the left of the flank and a right of the flank, and I'm not a huge fan of Death Company that are unled, but I mean, maybe you can make it work, but I think it's quite hard to make it work. Big Knights are losing 1 toughness and gaining a few wounds. This would make them T11. I believe some of them are already T13, are they not? I think the Castellan is... I think Castellan's T13. But yeah, I mean, it's still going to be super hard to wound them, right? Like, chainswords are still literally going to be wounding them on 6s most of the time. This is why the Chaplain with +1 is so useful. Or this is why Red Rampage is such a good stratagem. And here's the thing about Red Rampage. You can only use it on 1 unit per arm or per turn, right? So, video title says 31st of December. Thank you. I will change it. It is the 1st of December. But what models did I get for Christmas? I don't know, Daryl. I probably... Do you know what? One of my awesome subscribers or members will send me a model for Christmas, because my family don't buy me models. But somebody sent me a model for my birthday. I was very happy about that. Alright, we're going to move on to Bind Mind. Strange name. He's the second list for tonight. He is running Liberator Assault Group. Surprise, surprise. It'll be really nice if this new detachment... Red Covenant, thanks for hanging out. It'll be really nice if this new detachment actually splits some of the Blood Angels players, because at the moment, it feels like 95% of army lists are Liberator Assault Group. Angelic Host, I don't see much... Well, we don't get many submissions for it, and the Lost Brethren don't get hardly any submissions for it. Welsh Viking, welcome to the channel. Welcome. Welcome to Blood Angels. I'm glad that the videos are helping. Okay, let's talk about this next list. We've got Mephiston, we've got Dante, we've got a Rage Captain, and we've got a Fight First Captain. Okay. Jump Intercessors, 3 squads of 5. That's probably how I like to play them. Sorry, I missed your comment. Disgustingly resilient. Is the Death Guard detachment any good? A squad of company heroes. I'm guessing they're going with the Rage Captain. A squad of infiltrators. 2 squads of Sangre Guard. A squad of scouts. 3 Ballistus Dreadnoughts. And an Impulsor. Okay. You know, with Death Company being a lot worse now, I was actually kind of thinking that like some people might start to pivot towards 2 units of Sangre Guard. So we've got Dante leading a Sangre Guard. We've got a Fight First Captain leading the other Sangre Guard. We've got Mephiston on the board to be a nuisance. He could jump in the Impulsor. We've got the company heroes with the captain for durability. We've got infiltrators. We've got scouts for scoring. We've got 3 Ballistus Dreadnoughts just to give us las cannons and 6 crack missiles a turn. We've got the Impulsor. Yeah, this is a good one actually, because like if you think of the Impulsor as a scoring option, and the Assault Intercessors are scoring options, and the Scouts are scoring options, then you're at 5 scoring options before you include the company heroes. The company heroes with the Rage Captain will do damage, the 2 squads of Sanguinary Guard will do damage, Mephiston potentially can do damage or become the scoring option. So potentially this list has 6 scoring options, but then Assault Intercessors with jump packs can pivot into damage options, and like I said, Death Company are kind of falling away a little bit in terms of competitiveness, or in terms of how much play we're seeing. I mean, you can run the 10 Death Company. That's fine. I guess, is a Fight First Captain for 110 points with a unit of Sanguinary Guard better than, let's say, Astaroth and 10 Death Company, or Lamartas plus 10 Death Company? Because that's pretty similar in costs. It's like 380 points for the Fight First Captain. What's the Fight First Captain got? A Power Fist, surely. I was going to say, technically you could have taken a Thunderhammer, but yeah, Power Fist is probably what most people go with. So, I think Sanguinary Guard are good now. I think they're still they still feel very pricey, and they still die very quickly sometimes. In some matchups they just don't die, but in some matchups they can die super quickly. I guess in melee combat against some enemies they're just horrifically strong. So a lot of your damage is coming from those 2 squads of Sanguinary Guard. Technically you reserve both of them. One of them's Fight First. I think the only issue I have with this list is like you only have 1 red rampage. But I suppose if you use it well and you use red rampage at the right time, and you make 2 charges with a Sanguinary Guard and one of them doesn't need red rampage, because I guess with the captain leading them, they are strength 9, right? Because they're strength 6 base, plus 2 strength, plus 1 strength when charging, led with a captain. I'm just going to check that because I never run the captain, but I'm convinced that a captain with a jump pack gives plus 1 strength when charging. Leader abilities. Yeah, so they're strength 9, AP 3 when charging. I mean, strength 9 is probably a breakpoint for some transport. Strength 9 is probably pretty good into enemy Terminators or elite infantry. 270 points for the Sanguinary Guard is pricey, but like I said, the Death Company seem to be underwhelming from time to time, whereas the Sanguinary Guard for me generally aren't underwhelming, because it's just 30 strength 8 or 9 AP3 attacks, and I guess 30 strength AP3 attacks is usually pretty good. You could rampage 1 Sanguinary Guard and oath the other. Well, exactly. I think I'm kind of on board with this list. I don't think I'm going to be changing anything. If it was me, because I'm playing something similar, or I've been playing lists like this, I might be willing to lose 1 unit of Jump Intercessors for a unit of Outriders, because I feel like Outriders can at least survive a turn of shooting. And I like to have a unit of Outriders early in the game as a distraction that can go up the board and can sit on an objective and can survive, whereas I feel like Jump Intercessors generally don't sit on objectives and survive. But it's super minor. Like, this is a good list. What did he say? I love what you guys do. I was hoping to receive some of your insight. I'm newer to Blood Angels. I've been looking to break into with some lag. Sanguinary Guard. I'm not married to any part of the list, so feedback is welcome. Conceptually, I would like Sanguinary Guard to function as a destructive element to force opponents to expose units and face the Ballistus as firing lines. The few games I've played with the Ballistus has made me really fall in love with the unit. I was waffling between having the captain attached to the Assault Intercessors or company heroes, but since heroes' tankiness lets it remain useful beyond its first activation, and Red Rampage allows the unit to still be reliably punch a knight to death, it seems the better option. Yeah, I mean, that's why I run company heroes over the Assault Intercessors, is because, like, if you run the Assault Intercessors and the captain, you'll do more on that first strike and then you'll be dead, whereas the company heroes typically linger around for multiple turns. The ultimate goal of the list is to be a bit more defensive. Yeah, so if you're going to be a little bit more defensive, try and get a unit of Outriders in there. It's super minor, though. keep the signature power of lag. I think this list is totally fine. The only thing to say is, like, for units to sit on an objective. So you've got your company heroes that can sit on an objective. I guess you've got your ballistas dreadnoughts that can sit on the objective. If you want something fast moving that can sit on the objectives, then I'd put 1 unit of outriders in. I guess that would leave you 15 points left over, which you couldn't spend. I don't really care. I think outriders are just, well, I mean, if you look at them raw against assault intercessors, they've got 2 more wounds. They've got 1 more toughness. So in terms of, if you're just looking for something that can survive in the early game, you can sit them on an objective. It's outriders. They're more likely to survive. And if 2 live, then you're still OC4, which is much more meaningful, I guess. Than you need 4 assault intercessors with jump packs to live to stay at OC4. So like I've had it where I've had 1 outrider with 1 wound and another full health, and I'm still OC4 and I still control that objective. That's literally what happened this week against Thousand Suns. They had a Vortex Beast on an objective, and it left 1 outrider and 1 outrider with 1 wound, or 1 full health one and 1 with full wounds, and because of that, I controlled the objective, or I secured the objective. Hello, Bad Francis, how you doing? This is a good list, by mine. Don't have too much to say. You're on the right track. Welcome to Blood Angels. I feel like you've maybe watched 1 or 2 of my videos, but I don't know. Alright, we're going to look at Beesus next. Is that how you say it? Maybe it's Beesus. I don't know. Okay, he is also running Liberator Assault Group. Oh, in the last list, what I was going to say, yeah, put some of your at least 1 unit of those Sangre Guard into Strategic Reserve and Rapid Ingress them. Because Rapid Ingress is just so friggin' strong, man. I'm literally Rapid Ingressing 2 units every single game. In fact, in that last list, put a unit of Sangre Guard and a unit of Jump Intercessors into Reserve. Gives you 2 options for Rapid Ingress, and it's just so good. So in this list, he's going to Rapid Ingress Astaroth and 5 Death Company. Everything else is on the board. Alright, we'll come back to that. Right. Astaroth, Lamartez, a Rage Captain, and a Fight First Captain. Assault Intercessors on foot, Assault Intercessors with jump packs, 10 Death Company with jump packs, 5 Death Company with jump packs, 5 Infiltrators, 6 Sangre Guard, 5 Scouts, Ball Predator, Ballistas Dreadnought, Impulsor. Okay. I'm going to screen Astaroth and the 5 Death Company. I'm going to Rapid Ingress Astaroth and the 5 Death Company. I don't know why you wouldn't consider Rapid Ingressing the Sangre Guard as well. You know, like, you can always bring in 1 in turn 2 and 1 in turn 3. And if the strengths of units are different, I actually kind of like having the strengths of the units different, because if you've got 2 units with different strengths, then you can react to different situations. You know, like, it's like, oh, I need a really strong threat right now. Let's bring in the 6 squad of Sangre Guard and a leader. I need a weaker threat dealing with unit. Let's bring in 5 Death Company. You know, like, I actually kind of like having 2 different strength of threats in Strategic Reserve, because I think it gives you options, and options can help win games, right? Okay, I mean, the characters are all fine. The Assault Intercessors on foot in the Impulsor, it's so standard. The 2 Ballistas Dreadnoughts is standard. Not many people have tried the Ball Predator since the points increase, but I still think it's good. I still think that it's a lot of flamers. Everything got given assault. I just want to double check. Did the... Not that it really matters, but did the Stormbolter get assault? The Flamestorm's assault... Do you know what this? Okay, so the storm. So basically, the flames. All the flamers are assault weapons now. You got 15 Death Company. You've got 6 Sangre Guard. You've got the Infiltrators. You've got the 2 units of assaults. I guess, and you got the unit of Scouts. The problem you've probably got in this list as well is scoring options, right? You've got Scouts. You've got 1 unit of Assault Intercessors with jump packs. So I guess in the Impulsor, so you probably get 3 scoring options. The Ball special ability makes it all assault. No, they changed it. You're right. The way it was worded before, Matthew, was that it used to be Use your brain, John. That used to be. There was assault. All its weapons became assault when you shot against infantry. Thank you, Rovin. And now they're just assault by default, so you don't have the strange, silly restrictions that you can only shoot infantry. It was a bit silly before, because like Nurglings are beasts, so you could flame the Plague Marines right next to the Nurglings, but you couldn't flame the Nurglings. You know, it made no sense. So I guess now it's just assault on the Flamestorm Cannon and the 2 heavy flamers. I think that's pretty good. And then you get to re-roll your advance rolls with the Ball Predator. That's its thing. So it moves 12, re-rolling advance rolls. So you've got pretty good threat range on those flamers. But yeah, so basically by putting in these 2 Ball Predators, you give yourself like a ton more board control. You can shut down infantry movement, but you give up a potential bunch of secondary scoring, right? Because like you only have 3 units that are kind of dedicated for secondary scoring. You're not going to want to score secondaries with your Sangre Guards or your Ballistus Dreadnoughts or your 10 of Death Company, right? I feel like an Impulsor is almost 0.5 of a scoring unit, since it's usually got more important to work done on turn 1 and 2. Well, I think probably you just have to use something else to score in 1 or 2, Brian. Right? Like, that's probably why I quite like Outriders. Because in turn 1 and 2, I'll score with Outriders, and then usually by turn 3, the Impulsor is empty. So usually at that point, it can then become a unit that does scoring, and sometimes it can score in turn 1 and 2, right? Like if you get Sabotage or something, and you just need to park it in the middle of the board, or you get like Cleanse, or you get like some sort of secondary where you just need to go out and do an action on an objective. Cleanse is a good example, yeah. It could cleanse an objective. So maybe an Impulsor is 0.5 of a scoring unit, but regardless, 1 unit of Scouts, 1 unit of Jump Intercessors, and 1 Impulsor is not enough scoring units, in my opinion. I would almost say that you could argue the Jump Assault Intercessors are half a scoring unit, because more often than not, half the time with the Jump Assault Intercessors, you actually want to kill shit, right? Because they do kill shit. The Jump Assault Intercessors generally are pretty good at killing, and while you do occasionally want to use them to score points, you do sometimes just be like, I can kill this unit with this Jump Assault Intercessor, so I'm going to do that. So I guess you could argue. But yeah, I think in general, the units that Bejesus has picked here are good. Hello, Highland Phoenix. He's got a lot of board control against enemy infantry movement, or general enemy, you know, like, basically if the enemy are moving anything that's like T6 and below, he's got pretty good control of that with the Ball Predators. But I'm not entirely sure how you're gonna end up doing actions on units that you don't really want to do actions on in this list. And I guess I think that if this was me, I think probably like 1 Ball Predator is basically the cost of 2 units of Scouts. I think like if you're going to do the Ball Predators, you possibly have a choice here, right? Like if you want to keep the Ball Predators, you might need to lose a Dreadnought and get some scoring units in, or you might need to lose one of the Ball Predators and get some scoring units in. And I think that's your only real choice here. Because I think you do need at least 1 more thing that will score points. Because I think 3 scoring units is just not enough. You'll end up having to score points or do secondaries on units that are way more expensive than you want to, and because of that, you'll either have to give up you got to give up something to do that. Yeah, chat seems to think that you should drop a Ball Predator. I think that's probably your choice. There could also be an argument for like dropping Astrath and just replacing him with a chaplain that, you know, like there's just the general jump chaplain with +1 to wound, because that would give you back 30 points. You lose a Ball Predator, you're at 165 points. So what could you do with 165 points? Well, you could have a unit of Outriders and another unit of Assault Intercessors. That's you up to 5 scoring units. We know Assault Intercessors, like I said, they can become a combat unit. Outriders are a pretty durable early game unit. That's probably what I would do. I'd probably lose the Ball Predator. I'd probably lose Astaroth and just replace... If you don't have the model of the Firstborn Chaplain or the Chaplain with a jump pack, I'd just still use the Astaroth model and just say, he is a Chaplain with a jump pack. That's probably what I'd do. Okay, let's move on. Elarask. This is the list he's thinking of trying. The Blade Guard and the Impulsor, the rest should be self-explanatory. Let's see. A Liberator Assault Group. Number 4 for Liberator Assault Group tonight. Let's really hope that this new detachment we get at least matches Liberator Assault Group, and some of us want to play it. I hope the detachment has a detachment rule of +1 to wound and +1 to charge range. That's what I'm hoping. Something like that. You remember our old detachment? That was the old detachment for Blood Angels, wasn't it? +1 to wound, +1 to charge range. That was good. Would I be willing to give up 1 attack for +1 to wound, maybe? We'll see. Okay, Chaplain with Speed of the Primarch. This is the Chaplain on foot. Chaplain in Terminator armor, who is the Warlord. Chaplain with a jump pack, who is rage fueled. And a Librarian in Terminator armor. So this is going to be a Terminator heavy list. We've got the Impulsor. We've got the Assault Intercessor with the jump packs. We've got 2 Ballistic Dreadnoughts. We've got 6 Blade Guards. So they're with the Chaplain. Fight first. They're going to be in the Impulsor. You've got the 10 Death Company with jump packs. They will be with the Rage Fuel Chaplain, so +1 to wound, and then that Chaplain has, this is saying 3. You've got 5 Death Company with jump packs. They're not going to be led, but there is 3 other Chaplains in this list. We've got Infiltrators, we've got Predator Destructor, we've got a unit of Scouts ×2, and then I think we're going to have ×2 Terminators, yes. So 1 Terminator squad led by a Chaplain, 1 Terminator squad led by a Librarian. Okay, so 2 squads of Terminators led by characters, the Blade Guard led by a character, the Death Company led by a character, the Impulsor, the Assault Intercessor with jump packs, 2 Ballistic Dreadnoughts and the Predator, the Infiltrators as well. So it comes down to what we got for scoring units, right? We've got 2 units of Scouts, Infiltrators to hold the backfield, 1 unit of Assault Intercessors with jump packs, 1 Impulsor. So you're on 4 scoring units potentially here, maybe. I like everything about the list except 4 scoring units. I've been playing 5 and I've been finding it pretty tough to do secondaries and whatnot. Librarian or Chaplain for Terminators, what's better? So I think I've done videos on both these, actually, Gabino, and I think if you are being offensive, as in you are charging, shooting, and then charging and all that, the Librarian is better. The Librarian also becomes even better if you use Red Rampage on him. But I think the Chaplain is better if you are like stuck in combat, you know, and it's a long, prolonged fight, because +1 to wound all the time, even when you're not charging, is very, very good. And that's why I think the Chaplain is better if you're doing fight first, right? Because if you're charged and you don't have the additional attacks, you don't have the additional strength, the +1 to wound is very, very good. What do I think of Assault Terminators? I think they're too expensive. They're not as good. Here, Assault Terminators are not as good as Terminators with Storm Bolters and Power Fists, and they are more expensive. So Assault Terminators might not be too bad, but you're comparing them against cheaper, better Terminators, and that's the problem. So nobody wants to, no one wants to run Assault Terminators, regardless of if they've got them or not, because the other ones are cheaper and they are better. I think if they gave the Assault Terminators the rule that the other Terminators have, which is just like +1 to hit when you attack your Oath of the Moment target, then probably Assault Terminators at 180 points might get some play. But the rule that they've got right now, which is like do a battle shock test or something, it's absolute garbage. I don't even know what the rule is, but it's garbage. The rule is When you end a charge move, each enemy within engagement range must make a battle shock test. Whoop-de fucking do, honestly. So, I mean, people fail battle shock tests a third of the time. Roughly, I would say. Because normally your battle shock, you're passing on like a 6. So, like, a third of the time, when it's that one precise unit that they want to play a stratagem on, they're not going to get to do it. Like, you can't base I think the problem is you can't base any stratagems around that, or you can't base any strategy about that, because the one time that you actually need it to go off, they'll just roll a 7 and be like, oh well, we passed the battle shock, you know. So it's kind of bad. So I guess my point is don't take assault terminators at the moment. The only purpose of the ability is that it synergizes with first company enhancement that destroys enemy models that fail battle shock tests. Yeah, I saw somebody did win someone did win a tournament using that detachment. I guess they maybe had some sick Reaver synergy. Who knows? I think for the most part, the regular player, I don't think is very good. I don't rate assault terminators at all. 4 wounds for hard to move Terminator block. Does that have any bearing? Here's the thing, like, a lot of the time, Phil, you play against enemies that do 2 damage, right? Like, most enemies do 2 damage a swing. If you, like, sometimes when you come up against an army like Eldar, it's like, oh, everything in your list is 2 damage. Well, that's very efficient to killing Marines. So at that point, the extra wound means nothing. I think the Terminators were honestly stronger last edition, when the Storm Shield gave them like +1 to their save. So they basically had a 2-up save, which was getting +1. So if you got hit with AP1, you were still saving on 2s, right? Because you basically had a 1-up save. So I think, apart from lack of scoring options in this list, I think it's good. I think Terminators led by a Chaplain are good. I think Terminators led by a Librarian are good. Scouts are good. Predator Destructor +2 Ballistas Dreadnoughts is good. Infiltrators is good. The Death Company, a 10 with a Chaplain to +1 to wound them is good. And I guess because you've got 3 other Chaplains on the table, you can feel a bit more confident about running just 5. These small units of Death Company, though, this 5-man unit of Death Company, in practice, I've played this a few times now. It very rarely does anything. Like, its shooting is completely negligible now, right? Because you get like 1 plasma pistol and 1 infernal pistol, and you're probably going to miss with 1 or both of those. You can either fail to wound or fail to hit or wound with the 1 shot of plasma pistol or the 1 shot of infernal pistol you get. So the shooting from those Death Company in before the Codex, you get to reroll all the shots with the pistols as well. So the shooting from 5 Death Company now is basically nothing, and I guess you do have 8 Power Fist attacks. You do have 4 Eviscerator attacks. It's not horrific, but their damage overall just feels way less. These guys feel way less optimal than they once did. 130 points. Basically, I had two in my list and I dropped it down to 1. I feel like these guys are not nearly... They're like a shell of their former selves. So they could be an option to improve this list. Like, they could be... If we're going to cut something, they could be a candidate for being cut. Is basically what I'm saying. But I guess if you're going to cut something in this list, you would need to cut something else, because there's not too much you can do with 130 points. You already got scouts ×2, so it's not like you could add ×2 scouts for the 130 points. You could add like a unit of jump intercessors, but then you'd be left over with 40 points. But I do, having played these guys a few times now, I'm fairly unimpressed. The Blade Guard with Fight First is good. So it really just comes down to, you've got 4 scoring options. There could be an argument where this list would be better with a 5th scoring option. I mean, I guess you could think of this unit of jump intercessors or jump Death Company as like, they are going to score points. They are going to do actions. They're going to be within 12 inches of Chaplain. And then later in the game, maybe if they've done some actions, they could charge and they could do some killing. I guess we'll see. But I don't know. Hello, Art. How you doing? I love Blood Angels, Terminator, Space Hulk was my gateway to 40k. I think everybody loves Blood Angels, Terminators. But yeah, I think the Assault Terminators are in just a bad spot right now. What are you saying? Gil Conin says 170 points to do no damage and just sit there and die. And that can be done with an Impulsor. What are my thoughts on aggressors? They're expensive, man. They were good. They were like 100 points for 3, and now they're like 120 points for 3. I mean, I don't hate them. I played them to a tournament back in late November. Thank you so much for subscribing. Roy, my life. Yeah, I played them back in a tournament in November, and I thought they were okay. But like, I think they've gone up twice in cost since then. So aggressors are just like expensive now. I don't think they justify going up. They justify going up because of the stratagems and the usage of them in the Gladius task force, but they don't justify going up for Blood Angels. So I think if you are using aggressors as Blood Angels, you're basically paying a 20% tax for another detachment that made them strong, and they're not that strong for Blood Angels. So like I guess I don't recommend them. We don't see them very often. They're not horrible, but yeah, they're not very meta at all, I guess. Yeah, so I think overall this list is pretty good, Alrask. I don't think I would change too much. I think it's just worth noting that you are maybe low on scoring options. And another thing that I want to say is, like, if you are going to deep strike Terminators, try and put them in the center of the board. Don't ever deep strike Terminators onto an edge of a board, because I've done that before and I've made a mistake. I've put the Terminators at the edge of the board. I've tried to do a charge. They've failed the charge. Oh shit! Those Terminators are in the corner of the board. The opponent can just move away from them. They're slow. They're crap. 5-inch movement. I would always try and advise you, deep strike your Terminators towards the center of the board and charge out the way, so that then after you've killed that thing, you can move back to the middle and be relevant for more than one turn. Because I've had games where, you know, like I've actually played against an opponent where I screened my entire backfield and I left a little space in one of the back corners because I knew he was going to bring in Terminators, or I knew he wanted to bring in Terminators. The second he brought those Terminators down in that back corner, I just moved my whole army away from that corner. And his Terminators moved like 5 inches. And I was like, alright, cool, you've got your deep striking Terminator squad in that corner. I don't give a shit about them. They're never going to catch any of my guys, because my guys all have jump packs because we're Blood Angels. So your 300 point Terminator unit, or however many points it is literally going to do nothing except waddle about in that corner. And I think I purposely left the corner in that game, so I must have been able to leave it quite far away from like a primary objective. So like, maybe it didn't take the Terminators out of the game for the whole game, but for like 2 or 3 turns, his big block of Terminators was completely useless. I'm just dancing around them, fighting the rest of his army. Lewis says, I agree that aggressors models are great. It doesn't fit anywhere in Blood Angels. Do you know what? Which is a pity, Lewis, because in 8th edition, aggressors were really good in Blood Angels. And then at the start of 10th edition with the Librarian Dreadnought, they were also really good in Blood Angels, but now they are falling away again. Aggressors seem to come, they've got peaks and troughs. We're in an aggressor trough right now. They're not the most horrible thing to, you know, they are still toughness 6. They're still 3 wounds per model. I guess if you love aggressors, and maybe if you have like a Land Raider or something they could go in, it's alright. But it's not super meta, it's not super competitive right now. Okay, we have 90 people in the stream now, and we've got 43 likes on the stream. So this is me calling out. Please, 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 please press the big thumbs up button underneath the video. Do appreciate it. Okay, we're going to look at Multi-Downforce next. He's very new to Blood Angels. It's his first attempt at a list, and have been listening close to those with experience. You have convinced me about the Outriders. I'm very open to swapping the Brutalis for a Lancer. How I see it is either target a Ballistus turn 1, and then the Brutalis gets in your face, and you hit the Brutalis and the ballista is going to hurt you from afar. I'm a little concerned about having no battle line, but I have a lot of small mobile scoring units. You know, I'm a little concerned about having no battle line in my lists, but very, very rarely does it come up. Like, very few people take secret missions. And the lack of battle line it feels like it very rarely comes up. Okay, we're looking at Liberator Assault Group. Again, 5 out of 5 tonight. Captain with Rage, Mephiston, Dante, Lamartis. It's like the usual suspects. Do you know, every time I say usual suspects, I think of that movie. I haven't seen that movie in like 25 years. I need to watch it again. That was a good movie. I wonder if they do it on Blu-ray. Impulsor. I remember watching all the movies on my old fucking... What was it called? Like, it wasn't even called CRT. What were the tellies with like the TVs with like the tubes in them? They basically had a crap picture. Like, they were thick. They were made of wood. You guys remember having a telly like that? I feel like I watched all the movies when I was a kid on a telly like that. Rear projection, yeah, probably. Is that what that was called? Basically, the telly was in a wooden box. That's how retro it was. Okay, Assault Intercessors with jump packs ×3. I kind of like lists that just start like that. It's kind of no nonsense, isn't it? It's like, I'm going to have a lot of jump infantry that can just score units and kill stuff. They're called tube TVs, thanks. Yeah, they are. Cathode ray tubes, that's what they were called, yeah. Tom says, hey all, would you take a Redeemer or a Repulsor for 6 Aggressors and a Gravis Captain? I've played both. I would take the Repulsor because I think the Redeemer is too expensive. And those things are bullet magnet, and the extra 100 points you pay on the Redeemer barely helps because those tanks are too big to hide, so they're going to get blown up in turn 1, or they're going to get all the enemy firepower into the turn 1. And I don't think the extra 105 points necessarily means any difference. It will either get blown up in turn 1 or it won't. If it doesn't get blown up in turn 1, you probably push on and win the game. And I think when it does get blown up in turn 1, it sucks. So I think when that happens, you'd have rather paid 180 points for it to get blown up rather than 285, if that makes sense. Alright, so we got the no-nonsense 3 jump intercessors, then we got 2 ballistas dreadnoughts, 6 Blade Guard, a Brutalis Dreadnought, 10 Death Company, 1 squad Outriders, 1 squad of Sangry Guard. Okay. So Dante's with a 6 Sangry Guard, Lamartis with a 10 Death Company, Mephiston's on his own, the Rage Captain's in the Impulsor with a 5... Oh, hold on, the Rage Captain's in the Impulsor with the Blade Guard. Okay, I mean, we don't see that very often, but that's cool. I actually think this captain can't lead the Blade Guard. It's super minor. I guess he did say he was new, so it's just a small mistake. The captain needs to have... Maybe it actually says it on the Blade Guard. Where the hell does it say it? I thought it said it on the captain. This model cannot be attached to Blade Guard veterans unless it has a relic shield. So you have to choose the war gear options that include the relic shield. So you have to have a heavy bolt pistol, a mastercrafted power fist, and a relic shield if you want it attached to the Blade Guard. Super minor. I think so. It's fine. It's still good choice for the Rage Captain. 3 units of jump intercessors, 2 ballistas dreadnoughts. So the Brutalis Dreadnought is a little bit of a question mark here. It's like, what's it actually providing? Would it be better, like he said, just to take a Gladiator Lancer? Probably. 10, 6 Sangry Guard, 10 Death Company, 6 Blade Guard, the unit of Outriders, the 3 units of Jump Assault Intercessors. Yeah, I mean, it's got a good number of scoring options. I mean, There's the 5 scoring options. There is no infiltrators, so that's maybe a negative. You know, like, what are we holding our backfield with? I guess maybe it could be Mephiston. You know, I think if this was me, actually, I'd probably lose Mephiston. I put in a unit of infiltrators, and I possibly lose the Brutalis Dreadnought, and I put in a Vindicator tank. But yeah, you could totally put the Gladiator Lancer in here. I mean, I don't know if you have to, right? You've got 2 Ballistus Dreadnoughts, you've got 3 super strong melee units, like Sangre Guard, led by Dante, Death Company, led by Lamartez, Blade Guard, led by a captain. Like, they are 3 really strong combat units. Having a Brutalis Dreadnought there for, like, a potential 4th combat unit. You could Rapid Ingress the Brutalis Dreadnought, you could Rapid Ingress the Death Company or the Sangre Guard. Tiny little change needed on the captain. I wouldn't worry too much about the battle line, honestly. I think the thing that I would worry about is, like, how you protect your backfield. And that's where I literally land on infiltrators, is just being too good to ignore. And, like, I don't really want to have to spend the 100 points on infiltrators every game, but they just basically let you completely ignore the backfield, right? Because it's like, what's their ability? Enemies that are set up in the battlefield cannot be set up within 12 inches of this unit. So you can daisy chain this unit. Their bases are like 1.5 inches. So if you go 5 guys with 1.5 inch bases, that is 7 inches if you deployed them in a line. You can put 2-inch coherency in there, so then you've got 17 inches if you deployed them in a line, and then draw a 12-inch bubble around that. So if you deploy them in a line, 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, then you're literally saying to the opponent that I've just created a bubble, 17 plus 12 on both sides. What's that? 41? So basically, I have screened off a 41-inch section of the map that is 24 inches wide. So if you put those guys in a good position in your backfield, nothing is threatening your backfield from reserves. And for 100 points, I think it's like a non-negotiable. It's just too strong to not have for 100 points. Because one of the things a Blood Angel's army is going to want to do, right, is you're going to want to push everything forward. Everything is going to be wanting to be in combat. So you're going to leave spaces in the backfield. And this is where infiltrators, like, that's why they're worth their weight in gold. Because you put in that unit of infiltrators, you screen off all the backfield, nothing can come out behind you, and then you, at least you know all the fronts you're fighting on, right? And later in the game, if you don't need to screen the backfield, then you can move the infiltrators up. They can occasionally do an action. They can occasionally come and join the combat. It doesn't happen all that often, but sometimes it does. Calgar says it's close to 50% of the board. It is. It really is. The board's only 48 inches. Yeah, the board is only 48 inches wide. So it's not quite half the board. It's probably somewhere in the region of like 45% of the board you can screen with that one unit of infiltrators. Is the Ballistus edging out Predators for who's run them recently? I think the Predator possibly does more damage than the Ballistus Dreadnought. If you're able to oath the target. The advantage of the Ballistus Dreadnought is it doesn't need oath most of the time. Most of the time it ends up getting some rerolls to hit. And then the other thing about the Ballistus Dreadnought is the Ballistus Dreadnought is more survivable, right? Like it's just got a better save, it's got a 2-up save. So in some ways it just generally is more survivable. You know, when you're hit by AP3 on your Predator, all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, I'm saving on 6s. When you're hit on AP3 on the Ballistus, it's 5s, and if you can somehow wangle your way into cover, it's 4s. So yeah, infiltrators are like eating your vegetables. They're not exciting, but you've just got to do it. That's a good analogy, Brian. I like it. My daughter turned 5 the other week. I haven't told her that. I'm going to say that to her. I'm going to say that vegetables are not exciting, but you just have to do it. I like it. All right, we're looking at Austin Roy Stewart. His list is next. He didn't write if it's Liberator Assault Group, but I'm going to assume it is because all 5 other lists tonight have been Liberator Assault Group. So, Dante Lamarta is the Sanguinar, a captain, a chaplain, a Sanguinary priest. This Austin is playing Hero Hammer. So do you know what's funny is, like, I genuinely stay the hell away from spending this many points on characters. But, one guy did do amazingly well in a tournament, spending this many points. I saw someone, like, I can't remember if he won the tournament or if he came second, but he had spent like 700 and change, and I was like looking at it going like, holy crap. Jack says, I prefer infiltrators with stickies. Do you know what? I tried infiltrators or stickies, Jack, but then someone will drop a unit of Terminators behind your line, or in the case of Grey Knights, they'll just drop a Dread Knight behind your line. A Dread Knight pretty much kills an entire unit of infiltrators, right? Sorry, an entire unit of intercessors, and then they'll be stood on. They can deep strike within 3 inches, so they just literally drop down on top of your objective and take it away from you and kill your whole unit. Because they've got, what is it the Dread Knights have got again? The Dread Knight can have 2 of the following, but cannot take duplicates. So it takes the heavy Psy Cannon, which is like 6 shots, strength 10, AP 2, 3 damage. So every failed save is a dead Marine. And then they take the Flamer, which is 2d6, AP -1, ignore cover. And then this thing's like, what's the OC of this thing? 4. So it lands on your objective, standing next to you, and it shoots you with this, and like, this literally gives me nightmares, Jack. Like, I was fortunate to play against Grey Knights before I went to the tournament, and like, they literally dropped this thing on my objective and killed, I think, 2 or 3 of my, I think they must have killed 3 of my intercessors, because all of a sudden I was no longer holding my home field objective because that thing's OC4. So if he kills 3, and statistically he's probably going to kill 3, then the objective is contested. And I was like, oh, you know, like, I was like swearing under my, I was like, okay, I need to take infiltrators. I'm an idiot for trying to do something smart with the, I'm an idiot for trying to be smart with the intercessors and the sticky objectives. Just take infiltrators and just remove any nonsense that's gonna. The new Dreadnought makes the new detachment makes Dreadnoughts half price. All right, yeah. I'm sold on that detachment, Matthew. Let's do it. So my list at the moment has 210 plus 1. So I'm running 300. I can't do math. I'm running 370 points of characters. So this is like an extra 275 points of characters. It feels like a lot of points to be spending on characters. You got 10 Assault Intercessors with Jump Pack. I guess they're led by maybe the Rage? No, it can't be. I guess they're not led by anyone. You got 6 Blade Guard, you've got 10 Death Company, they'll be led by Lamartas, you've got 5 Infiltrators, you've got 6 Sanguinary Guard led by Dante, you've got a unit of Scouts, you've got 2 Ball Predators, you've got the Impulsor. The Chaplain is with a 6 Blade Guard in the Impulsor. The Captain and the Sanguinary Priest are attached to Assault Intercessors in reserve. I don't like that, man. I think it's too many points. It's like 90, 205, 365 points for Chainswords in one squad. Lamarta's in Death Company in the Deep Strike. Dante and the Sanguinary start on the board. The Sanguinar is also in Deep Strike. Yeah, I mean, my opinion of this list is we do not have enough units that score points. We've got like a unit of Scouts. Nothing else in this list screams out that it can do actions. Maybe the Sanguinar can do actions, but realistically you probably want to do your heroic, whatever it's called, divine, I forget, heroic intervention, what's his, miraculous savior. So realistically, realistically, you've got one dedicated scoring unit in here. You could argue the Impulsor is, so there's 2 units. Foz is kit bashing some Sangre Guard tonight. You got this, Foz. You using Crimson Lords, or are you just doing some random stuff? I mean, you've got Ball Predators, that's cool. You've got Sangre Guard and Death Company and Blade Guard. So you've got like Sangre Guard I like, Sangre Guard in 6 I like, Death Company in 10 I like, Blade Guard in 6 I like. Ball Predators, I mean, they're not my favourite. I prefer having like actual anti-tank firepower, but I can understand what Ball Predators are going to do. Ball Predators can score points, but you'd rather flame people 100%, right, Jack? The Impulsor and the Scouts are scoring options. I feel like it's this. The problem with this list is this one giant unit of Assault Intercessors with the Sangre Priest and the Chaplain. I just think one of the things that he's done is he's given them Fight First. I just don't think Fight First is all that meaningful on Strength 4 Chainswords. I guess in this situation, because he has the Captain attached, if they manage to charge them, and the Captain hasn't used his Rage Fueled nonsense, then the Captain would be able to use his Rage Fueled nonsense, and he'd be able to do that. But I think it's better, like, if you're going to run that Captain, I think it's just better to do it in a small squad, 5 guys, inside the Impulsor. That way you guarantee that you're going to make... You will be the aggressor, right? If you've got the Impulsor, 9 times out of 10, you can be the aggressor. And the Captain in the Impulsor and 5 Assault Intercessors saves you. It saves you like 90 odd points. Well, 90 odd points is another unit of Jump Intercessors, or it's another unit of Outriders, or some other scoring unit. And then the Impulsor can also become a scoring unit as well, because at some point you've like unloaded it. Will I try Mephiston? Maybe, but I don't know if I will try him before this next tournament I'm going to, because I'm at the point where like I'm probably, well, it's December today. It's the 1st of December. So that does mean that my membership goal has reset. So we need to get some new members here. We're down to 0 member goals. So I'm going to a tournament. I think it might either be the 18th or 19th or the 25th or the 26th of January. I should really know this. Did I put it in my calendar? I really should put it in my calendar. Maybe I did. Yes, I did. It's the 18th. So I'm going to a tournament on the 18th of January. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got 6 weeks. So I'm going to probably iterate on my list 3 or 4 times in the next week. Sorry, in the next week. I'll probably iterate on my list 3 or 4 times in the next month. And then I'll lock it in and I'll play 2 or 3 games with the exact list for that tournament. I think I might be close to what I'm going to run. And maybe after that tournament, I'll experiment a bit, because then it'll be like 6 months before I go to the next tournament. So I like to try and lock my list in and then just get reps in. And I like to lock my list in even if I think it's not the most competitive list, and just keep playing it and practice with it so I know exactly what I've done. I took Mephiston to a tournament in 9th edition and did the same thing. Like, a lot of people were telling me, like, don't run Mephiston in 9th edition, he's not competitive. But I just locked it in and played a bunch of games with them, and I was like, I think if you just practice the same list, I only play on stream, yeah. Like 1 game a week, dude. I got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. I can't play any more than once a week. Sometimes I can't even play once a week, because, you know, if you have 2 kids that age, you'll understand. Yeah, so I think in this list I would break that unit into 5. I think I would get rid of the Sangre Priest, get an Impulsor in, and then get another scoring option in. And then I think at that point you're doing pretty well. And I think that removes some of the craziness about the number of characters that you have. I have awoken. Forrest, thanks so much for Gifted, starting us off great this month. Dude, that's very generous of you. I think I'm supposed to be playing World Eaters on Wednesday night. Yeah, Andrew confirmed earlier today. So I am playing on Wednesday night. We're going to be playing World Eaters. So it'll be Angron, 8-bound, all the normal good shit here. Assault intercessors for me just don't hit hard at all.
I have awoken.
Well, assault intercessors are fine if they're led by the rage captain and you're running them in small squads, I feel like. So I basically play one game a week and then I have like a tournament and I'll play 5 games. And honestly, I find 5 games over 2 days kind of a lot. I think like by game 4 or 5, I'm definitely starting to make some mistakes on day 2. And normally, like, see, in a tournament after the first day, a lot of people will go to the bar for like a drink or two. I don't do, like, don't get me wrong, I like to have a drink. I do quite, like there's numerous alcoholic beverages that I enjoy. But if I know I'm going to have to get up early in the morning, I need to be super switched on and I need to beat someone at Warhammer. I don't like drinking the night before that. So everybody else goes to the pub and has a few drinks. I go home, get an early bed, get up in the morning nice and early, and I'm nice and fresh, I feel like, for the tournament. I'm usually exhausted. I'll fall asleep at like 10 p.m. after a tournament, whereas most people, like most nights, I don't go to bed till like midnight, half midnight. On a tournament day, I can easily fall asleep at 10 o'clock. Voice says 1 game a day is enough for me. No, do you know what? I do like the sort of like meeting everybody in the hecticness of the tournaments. I enjoy that. Maybe just because they're in their 20s. I don't know, Andrew and Colin go for drinks in the evening as well, and they're older than me. Andrew and Colin are 2 years older than me. Okay. Matthew, you're in chat and we've got your list. Yeah, I wanted to put your list on stream because we've been talking about it a little bit, right? So we've got the Blood Angels Captain, and this is Liberator Assault Group list number 7 for tonight, if anyone was any doubt. If Liberator Assault Group is... See if they do not give us a new detachment that's better or equal to Liberator Assault Group. We're gonna have a riot on our hand. Foz says, all these new members, please make sure you guys come over to our members only room on Discord. If you're not in the Discord, ! Discord, you can come join us. Alright, so we got the Captain, the Chaplain with Speed of the Primarch. That's a Chaplain on foot and a Chaplain with a jump pack. We've got 3 units of Assault Intercessors on foot. We've got an Impulsor. We've got 3 units of Assault Intercessor with jump packs. We've got double Ballistus Dreadnought. We've got the Company Heroes. We've got 2 units of Death Company on foot. We've got 3 units of Death Company with jump packs. We've got Infiltrators. We've got Outriders. And we've got Scouts. So, this is like all MSU. Because I don't think any squad is maximum size, yeah. It's all MSU, and it's just crap load of Space Marines on the board, a crap load of 2 wound Space Marines on the board, with a few characters. So we still have our Rage. We still have a Rage Assault character, but we do have a Chaplain leading one of those 5 Death Company with speed of the Chaplain leading something with Speed of the Primarch, and a 5-man Chaplain leading the Death Company. Yeah, so when I looked at this, the one thing that I thought straight away is like, I think you want to get the maximum benefit of 1 squad of Death Company Marines with jump backs. So I think you should combine 2 of the 5s into a 10, because the Chaplain's buff affects everybody in the squad. And I think if you're already running, like, you already have enough MSU on the board, right? Like, in terms of like units that can perform actions, right? Like we often talk about units that can perform actions on the stream. You've got Scouts, you've got Outriders, we've got the Infiltrators for the backfield, so ignore them for now. But Scouts, Outriders, then 3 units of Jump Assault Intercessors, and the Impulsor. So at this point, like, it's already 6 units that can do actions, and then you've got 3 units of Assault Intercessors with just straight up Chainsword Assault Intercessors. So it's fine to do actions on them as well because they're cheap and they're cheerful and you're not giving up too much. I'd love to see this versus an Iron Storm Spearhead with 3 Destructors and 3 Vindicators. Well, I mean, at that point, it would really come down to terrain, wouldn't it? It would be how well the Blood Angels player could hide their infantry. And the terrain is at the moment, like the Games Workshop terrain is actually a little bit too dense. Like, there's not that many firing lanes in terrain at the moment. So, like, after the stream last week against Thousand Suns, one of my friends was messaging me saying, like, you might take some heat about that battle report because there was too much terrain on the board. And I was like, that's the Games Workshop terrain. It's not like I'm trying to make them. There's a lot of terrain on the tabletop. If anything, that terrain is negatively affecting me as well because I've got Ballistus Dreadnoughts and Predators that have 40-inch range and they can't see anything to shoot, right? So yeah, I think the first thing I would possibly do is like combine one of those Death Company into a 10. The jump Death Company for sure and get them in strategic reserve. Because then you're bringing in those 10 jump with rapid ingress, you're guaranteeing the charge, you're guaranteeing the +1 to wound, you don't need to spread rampage on them, it's all good. The one other thing that I kind of want to say is that I feel like you might need one more damaging unit here, right? The Chaplain leading the Foot Death Company, like, there's potentially an argument there for, like, again, combining them. Now, not many people run these Foot Death Company, but I guess if you combine them, you get +1 to wound, and it would affect more models, which in the grand scheme of things could be better, especially with the number of different squads that you already have. Like, you definitely have enough of a footprint to be covering. 10th edition is basically city fight. Yes, correct, sellers. So, like when I won the GT in June, I was able to basically park 2 Predator Destructors and a Ballistus Dread 48 inches away in every game, and just shoot from 48 inches and kill enemies 48 inches away. How do you use the Foot Death Company? Well, they're led by a Chaplain, but I guess you're hot-footing them across the board, right? Like, there is no other choice. They're not super popular at all, Foot Death Company, right? I actually don't even really know. I've never used them. When they take wounds, they get sustained. I mean, the sustained isn't too bad, I suppose. But again, like, there could be an argument there for, like, it is just better to have them in a 10, because once one guy dies, everybody gets sustained. And then if they ever get below half, then you get a lot more sustained, right? They get one less power fist if they combine as a 10. Yes, correct. But you do have a Chaplain in the list, so there is an argument there. Getting +1 to wound for the entire squad all the time is possibly better than that one extra power fist. It's minor things to say, but I think it's worth saying because I feel like if we look at tournament winning lists for the last 6 months, lists that have been winning tournaments are running 10 Death Company. Yes, they've been leading with Lemartes or Astrath, but I just think that I've played 5 Death Company multiple times now, and they're, like I said, I think I said it earlier in the stream, their killing power is it just feels so much less than it was before the Codex. So I think because you have so many units on the board, then there could be an argument for let's just combine a couple of them. Let's just use those couple as our reserves, and then let's rapid ingress them or let's deep strike them and make sure that we're making the charges we need to make and get the absolute maximum out of them. If that makes sense, Matthew. You got any questions, Matthew? I think if you when I went to the tournament in the summer, I put every game Sangre Guard plus Dante, 5 Death Company plus a Chaplain, and a unit of Jump Intercessors in reserve every single game. And my plan was in turn 2 or 3, or both actually, in turn 2, I will deep strike, I will rapid ingress something, and in turn 3, I will rapid ingress something else. And basically, like, by having different options in reserve, you know, like I had a unit of jump intercessors in reserve, I had a unit of Sangre Guard in reserve, I had a unit of Death Company in reserve, I could survey the board and go, okay, I think a unit of jump intercessors would be very strong here. All right, that's what I'm doing in turn 2. Or, you know, like the enemy just put this huge threat on my flank. I need to reinforce that flank. I'm going to put the Sangre Guard down there in turn 2. And by having like and I've been playing a lot of games of 10th edition. Before I went to that tournament, I just decided one day, I don't even know why I decided it. I just decided, I was like, I'm just going to put 3 units in reserve every single game. And that's how I'm going to try and play my list. And it gave me the ability to react to what my opponent was doing. And anytime there was an opportunity to take advantage of a space that they'd left, then I would just be like, rapid ingress, bang, you know, like, here's a unit of Death Company on your flank. Here's a unit of Sangre Guard in your deployment zone, you know? I think that that's one thing that you should do here in this list, because you've got jump intercessors. So we can get a unit of jump intercessors in reserve. We can get the 10 Death Company plus the chaplain in reserve, and arguably one other thing maybe in reserve. But again, at least if you have a couple of units, strong alpha strike, strong units that can kill shit in reserve. If you do that every single game and you have a plan for it, you practice it, you know, you'll get somewhere with that. No problem, Matthew. Okay. Sean says, I've been getting back into Blood Angels. I end up with almost 3,000 points in different kind of infantry with a few bikes and a single dreadnought. I need more firepower. What else should I add? At the moment, a lot of people think Gladiator Lancers are meta. Ballistus Dreadnoughts are meta. And then the Firstborn units that are meta, but people advise you don't buy them because we think Firstborn units might be going the way of the dinosaur, are Predator tanks and Vindicator tanks. I heard somewhere you pretty much have to target Death Company with strats, oath to reach the levels of damage they used to have, but depending on the target, they can keep up rather well. I think Death Company need +1 to wound to be anywhere close to where they were before. So that's why a chaplain attached to 10 Death Company is actually really not that bad option. And I guess, 10 Death Company with foot, with the chaplain again, +1 to wound, no stratagems needed, is pretty much not a bad option. And the thing is, if you do give them +1 to wound by default with the chaplain, you can use Red Rampage to just give you lethal hits. So you don't need to take all that nonsense of the Battle Shock. You just go, all right, I'm going to use Red Rampage for lethals. So now I have lethals and +1 to wound from the chaplain. So I'm kind of in a good situation overall. All right, Justice Mobile. He has a list called I Have a Dumb Idea, and is an Angelic host list, the first of tonight. Yay. So 7 Liberator Assault Group list tonight. Strength 12 Assault Centurions for 150 points is beyond scary, says Raul. Do you know what? I had Assault Centurions in my list, Raul, and they were at 100% win rate, but they are so fucking slow, man. 4-inch move is just tragic. They're either the best unit in the world or they're the worst. What happens with Assault Centurions is they either move 4 inches and you roll crap for your charges and you roll crap for your advance and they do nothing, or you roll amazing on your advances and you roll amazing on your charges and they're the best unit in the entire game. But for 150 points, they can do so much damage, the Assault Centurions. They're probably the only unit that Blood Angels have where 150 points can kill a 500 point knight and then some, right? They just have that much damage. But they are so fucking slow. In half the game you'll be rushing them around half the game just trying to get into combat. I gave them up for something like, in my list I basically replaced them with like a Ballistus Dreadnought or something, because it's like, well, at least I'll know this will actually do something more reliably, it feels like, over the multiple games. Alright, so we're looking at Angelic Host. We've got Captain with the Jump Pack with the Gleaming Pinions. This is obvious. This is the best enhancement they have. That means when the enemy move close to the unit, that unit gets a free move. We've got another captain with a jump pack. We got two of them actually, and we got the Sanguinar. Got a unit of heavy intercessors as battle line. We've got assault intercessors with jump packs ×2. We've got inceptors with plasmas ×3. We've got multiple small units of Sanguinary Guard. So each small unit of Sanguinary Guard is going to be most likely led by one of those captains, because there's a stratagem in this detachment. When an enemy unit is killed, you can get full wounds and rerolls with Sanguinary Guard. We've got multiple units of scouts. We've got 2 units of suppressors. We've got the unit of Vanguard veterans with all infernal pistols because they can deep strike within 3 inches. Wasn't that a Death Guard list at WCW? Something like I can do a lot with 4 inches. I mean, maybe there was. I haven't seen it, Foz. But like I said, it goes both ways, right? Like, I've played the Centurion. I played the Centurions 4 times. I won all 4 games. But there was definitely games where it just was like, oh my god, these guys are so slow and they don't move and they fail. They fail their charges. Then in the next turn you roll an advance of 1 or something. It's just like, oh my god, these Centurions, man. And then Eviscerator Assassin. Hold on a sec. Okay, here's my attempt at putting together unique talents of Angelic Host. The leaders generally will be unattached, so I may put the Gleaming Pinions with the Vanguard Vets unit. Why the hell are the leaders unattached? There's a fixed objective skew list behind enemy lines and established locust. I can use the 3 captains for a 3-inch deep strike. For free with their CP discount ability to do the locust in each turn. This job may also be completed with Inceptors or any other unit with 1 CP, of course. Battle round 1, the Eviscerator has enough movement for scouting and his overkill ability to get behind enemy lines and just do locust in the center with some jump intercessors. I should be able to get a minimum of 33 points on secondaries, almost guaranteed. Put my other units to work, move blocking or harassing my opponent and scoring primary or being positioned to get secondaries. I can also go for Unbroken Wall Secret Mission if I'm going to get second. Let me know what you think about it. It's definitely a skew list, isn't it? Wow. My problem, I think, with Angelic Host is like, how do you deal with high toughness enemies? And I think that might be relevant here. We've got nothing that... there's no stratagems to help deal with high toughness enemies. I mean, you've got the plasmas that are twin linked, but still not. It's not great. It's wounding on 5s into anything high toughness. You got the Sanguinary Guard. If they're on lead, then they're only strength 6, so they're wounding 5s on anything high toughness. Your suppressors are strength 8, but it's not many shots. And then your Van Vets are strength 8 as well. Again, it's not many shots. Your assault intercessors with jump packs, I mean, they can do a few mortal wounds when you charge. I guess you could throw some grenades. But yeah, interestingly, that there's no infiltrators as well. It's like this whole detachment is going to want you to stop the enemy coming in your backfield because you're going to be jumping around all over the place, but you haven't got that. You've just got a unit of heavy intercessors. I have not played this detachment. I don't know how I just don't know how I feel about it, right? Like, I think suppressors, are okay. The 3-inch deep strike for captains is kind of hilarious. Yeah, and I mean, you've got 3-inch deep strike for inceptors, so like, yeah, sure, you're going to be able to do a lot of scoring. I don't know how much killing you're going to do. And if the enemy has infiltrators or stuff like that that can, yeah, that's a good point, right? Sometimes we see lists that have double infiltrators. If you come up against a double infiltrator enemy, you are screwed with this list. Because you're not going to be able to do any of your, you're not going to get bind enemy lines, you're not going to get established locusts. Don't you have to kill things to win games? I mean, you don't, but if you don't do any killing, then it's like a war of attrition, right? Propaganda X. And that's kind of the problem that I have with this detachment. Like, the best list I've seen in this detachment, I think the list started with just like 3 Ballistus Dreadnoughts. Because it's like, okay, so you've figured out the weakness of this detachment is it doesn't kill anything with high toughness. So what you've put in there is just 6 las cannons and 6 crack missiles with 48 inches that you're just going to use to kill that high toughness stuff. You could maybe hunker up with heavy intercessors. I mean, maybe, but I think it's quirky, and I guess you're going to try and do behind enemy lines every turn. You're going to try and do locust in the center. You're going to try and hold on to your primaries. I mean, it all depends as well if your primaries are out in the open. Because sometimes, sometimes you do play maps where the primaries are out in the open. You've got nothing that's durable that can survive out in the open. I lie. You've got 1 unit of heavy intercessors that could somewhat survive out in the open. 3 Sangre Guard. Like when any unit dies, you can pay 1 CP to get the Sangre Guard to get full hits and wound rerolls against it. But you only have these small units of Sangre Guard. I don't think 12 attacks. Hitting on 3s full rerolls is like 10 hits. Again, it's probably only going to make the enemy take 4 or 5 saves. Like you have very little damage. Yes, you'll be scoring. It really comes down to, can this list hold primaries? And I think if you really wanted to do that in this list, I would say you want infiltrators, because you're going to try and hide infiltrators behind the wall. You're going to stop anyone jumping down on top of you. Infiltrators have a feel no pain as well. And there could be an argument here for like I said, like some sort of more durable thing. I'm struggling to see what it might be. But I don't play Liberate. Sorry, I do play Liberate Assault Group. I haven't played Angelic Host. Well, I'll try and find, like, if anyone's won a tournament with Angelic Host in the near future, I'll try and find a list that's won a tournament and I'll get it shared on the channel. Because I'm sure someone must have done well. Would 3 Brutalis and 3 Death Company Brutalis be pointless for 1,040 points? It looks so cool. I mean, Rule of Cool says yes, but is it competitive? I doubt it. Foz says against Knights it would be tough. Yeah, anything that's got a lot of high toughness is going to be tough, and you're not going to be popping open transports either. You don't even have anything that's strength 9, right? Yeah. So if your opponent's like World Eaters, and they have a couple of rhinos, they're just going to be able to ride their rhinos as far forward as they want turn 1, and then jump out and murder everything. How are you supposed to play Angelic Host? It's a very good question. I don't really know. You're probably supposed to take two 6-man units of Plasma Inceptors and pick them up and put them down every turn. But then the question is, can you do that and have them, because they've got Hazardous, right? And Hazardous is a huge problem. Especially if you're firing 12 on high power every turn, you're going to start like statistically, you should lose 2 models a turn. Durable, shooty, punchy. I don't think it's got any of that. It's a Crusade detachment, maybe. All right, that is the final list for tonight. That keeps us on our toes. Thank you so much for watching this tonight's stream, guys. I do really appreciate it. I hope you learned something. We're here every week. If you want to get your list on the show in future episode after this video ends, please just put your comment, same as you saw all the lists, just the comment you get from the Games Workshop app. Just export your list, throw it into the video description, or sorry, throw it into the comment section, and I'll pick it up and put it on a future show. I hope you guys have a great evening. Hopefully Wednesday night this week will be a battle against World Eaters, and maybe we'll try and review some of the WCW lists for Friday. So as gross as it could be, could you actually see 60 Heavy Intercessors win a game? How many points is Heavy Intercessors? 95? So 95 times 12, how many points is that? I mean, 60 Heavy Intercessors is a lot. And I mean, it's a lot of Strength 5 bolter fire out of 60 Heavy Intercessors as well. What detachment? Isn't, like, the Iron? What's it called? Anvil Strike Force, maybe? Like the Imperial Fist detachment? It's 180 tier 6 wounds? It's very skew. Oh, Angelic Host? I mean, the strength of Angelic Host is all the stratagems and all the enhancements require jump infantry, and they aren't jump infantry, so you'd have to be super efficient with the other 800 points you spent on jump infantry. I don't know. Maybe we'll see that in the future. I gotta go though, because I'm like 15 minutes over and I promised my wife I'd see her tonight. So you guys have a great evening. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you Wednesday night probably. By the blood are we made strong, my friends. Peace and good night.